Hello, today I want to install the operating system Redox, which is a Unix-like operating system for AMD 64 written in the programming language Rust on a QEMU virtual machine. I searched on Google Wiki Redox OS, got to the Wikipedia page for the operating system. The operating system started in 2015 and has been released recently. This is the official website. It has a microkernel and many of the software packages are written in Rust. There's a relibc C library, a orb-term terminal, a orbital window manager, ion graphical user interface shell, package utils, package manager, graphical user interface file manager, the web browser's netsurf. Okay, let's go to the official website, redox-os.org, and let's try to install the operating system. Use the button Quick Start, the blue one on the top right of the page. In here you will find that similarly to the FreeBSD handbook, the operating system Redox OS has a book, Redox book. There's daily images that we want to use. There's ISO files and IMG files compressed with Z standard. Okay, so let's go to the book or to the getting started. It's still inside of the book. Says that we could run the operating system in a virtual machine. Let's do that. Says that we can check the SHA-256 checksum, and we want the hard drive IMG, not the ISO file. So not this one, but this one. And we want the demo one, the file that's larger, so this one. Redox demo hard drive image.z standard. And we are going to need to run various command lines. So it's better if you download the file into the default directory, which is the downloads directory in your home directory. I'm using the Linux operating system Ubuntu 24.10 as the host operating system, where I'm running QEMU. So let's download the file. I have downloaded the file, so the largest one, but with IMG in name. Redox demo, hard drive IMG. We'll need a terminal. Okay, so we have instructions for VirtualBox, which is a virtualization software. And I'm going to use QEMU. I already have QEMU, KVM, Virt Manager, etc. installed on my computer. And the command line that should hopefully work just like that is this huge one. Hopefully this path works correctly. Let's run this command line. And it does. No such file or directory. Okay, so for some reason this backtick evaluation does not work correctly in Bash by default. That sounds really strange. So let me replace it doesn't expand the asterisk. Okay. Let's use the full path. Replace the expression with backticks in here. And try again. It's a daily build. Hopefully it boots correctly. Hopefully it works correctly. It's not a release. No bootable device. Of course, I didn't decompress using Z standard. So let's do that first. Ctrl-Alt-G. Ungrab machine width. So says Z standard. -D. Decompress. Okay. -D. And today's demo. Okay. I'm in the ~downloads directory. This will provide a shorter command line. Let's see if now bash expands the path correctly. And it does. So yes, don't skip the step. After you download the hard drive demo img compressed file, do decompress it, for instance, using this command line. And then the huge command line for QEMU Linux should hopefully work correctly. Not really. Image format was not specified and is probably raw. I'm not sure what was the reason there, because the command line indeed specifies that the img file is in format raw. So I have just replaced the part with backtick, echo, and then until the backtick with the relative path to the file. Since I'm inside of the ~downloads directory, I specify just the file name. And now we're greeted with a first run wizard where we're asked the resolution that we want. So the monitor is 1080p. Something a bit smaller than that would be great. Let's see this one, 1600 by 900. Okay. Says that the user is user and the root has password. So the two predefined users are the user named user without a password, and the user root that has the password. Okay, so it boots extremely fast. The image file is 1.5 GB. Compressed, it's 380 megabytes. Okay, and the operating system boots automatically or boots straight to graphical user interface mode. There was something similar to a desktop manager, a lock screen where I entered the user and password. Again, the user is named user and there's no password. And then we're inside the graphical user interface shell, which is probably named Ion, using the window manager that's probably named Orbital. So it's the first time that I'm looking at this operating system. Let's see what I can find in here. Calculator, a desktop calculator. There's debug output in the standard output from QEMU. Instructions on how to log in. Debug level, debug log, info level, debug log, warn level, debug log, timestamp, text, source code file or subsystem or something, and this is probably a I don't know, process ID. Okay, there's a DHCP client. It received a list from a DHCP server. That's probably part of QEMU. It does have PNG images as icons, app icons. What is this thing? /UI icons apps. Let's see if there's a terminal in here. Yes, there is. Cosmic terminal. How do we get to a file about a help about menu? From the main menu of the terminal, view and then about Cosmic terminal. github.com/pop-os cosmic term. I clicked on the link and something happened. I'm not sure what happened. Cosmic term /bin/cosmic-term. The process has crashed with exit status 9. Invalid opcode. Okay, let's look a bit at the file system. It's a Unix-like operating system, so I hope that I have similar things to a minimal Unix operating system, such as the command ls --help or -h command line parameter, ls. Let's see the compatibility with POSIX or GNU style, -la tilde. So ls shows short file names, and ls-la shows hidden files, the tilde/.local tilde/.config directories, and so this is the a parameter, command line parameter, and -l means long, so show it in form of table with the chmod bits on the first column, the owner user on third column, the created time or modified time on the penultimate column, and the name, directory name or file name. There's the special dot dot, which is the parent directory, the special directory dot. The chmod bits are familiar, the directory, and then rwx, rwx, rwx. This 1000 is probably the user ID, UID. Okay, let's see the slash directory. So cosmic term is slash bin slash cosmic minus term. Let's see if autocompletion works. Interesting autocompletion. Okay, let's see if we have environment variables. How do we get to those? env. What can we see here? The user is user and the group ID of the user is 1000. Probably the group ID is also user. QEMU exists, user, pwd. The home directory is where you would expect, /home/user. The path just contains /usr/bin, nothing else. The graphical user interface shell is probably this guy, /usr/bin/ion. Yes, AUX. Let's see if maximizing works. Maximizing hides the main panel. So this guy. So not what I want. I'm not sure why I can't resize if I use the top edge of the window, but I can with the bottom edge, the left and the right edge. Not just the bottom and left edges. Right also. Okay. Let's see if we have less in here. So up arrow key, pipe and less. Environment variable not found. More. Broken pipe. Ion command not found. Control D. D again. Okay. So I'm not sure how pagination works or if it does work. Let's look at the processes. So this is a table view of all of the processes that are currently running, hopefully. There's UIDs, the ones with 1000, RUID, EUID. Group IDs RGID, EGID. The processes that have the UID 1000 for the user are more of the processes that have started after the moment that I have logged in into the desktop manager or the lock screen. So mostly graphical user interface apps. Cosmic Terminal, many processes, or just one. So the first column is process ID, but one process is shown multiple times, the one with 116 PID. And path, executable path /bin/cosmic -term. Are this line not unique? They are. So the pipe does work and unique queue does work. FB probably is the frame buffer, so a limited form of graphical user interface of putting pixels on screen. Probably the log manager, the one that collects the logs, the daemon. ACPI, so this is Intel power management, sleep, shutdown, reboot. AHCI is for what? For, I know, USB, PCIe, something like that. Redox FS, the file system that we're probably using right now. There's probably at least one partition and it's formatted with this file system, Redox FS, the default file system in the operating system Redox. This is probably showing the microkernel aspect of Redox OS, where you have PCID processes and drivers processes, and the file system /bin/redoxfs running as processes, not as part of the kernel. And with process IDs like, I know, 32 for RedoxFS in this example. Okay. There's PID1, which is init, Unix-like. This is, I know, probably /dev/null /bin/null daemon /bin/0 daemon. This is probably /dev/0 /bin/rand daemon. This is probably one of the random number generators. VESA, probably the graphical user interface hardware drivers. Input daemon for mouse and keyboard, probably. PS, the process that we have just ran, 127 process ID. Orbital, the file manager. The audio daemon, so similar to Pipewire, Pulse Audio. DNS client, probably service. The calculator graphical user interface app that we have started. kernel main on process ID 0. So this might be part of the microkernel. So this probably runs in kernel space, and these other processes run in user mode. Okay, interesting. So we can see POSIX, Unix style aspects. Many command lines do exist in here, such as unique, ps, who am I, pwd, probably sh. It's GNU bash, but I cannot see it in here. Which one is the shell out of the processes in the list? I know. Let's start sh, and it's a totally different thing. Uses relibc, so it's written in the programming language C or C++ or similar one, so it's probably a source code that's being ported to the Redox operating system. It's not core part of the Redox operating system. The core part's being written in the Rust programming language. And now if you run the same thing, ps aux, let's see if now the piping works. Nope. Nope. Now we also have process IDs 132 and 138, which is the bash executable. Control D. And now sh has disappeared. So one of these processes is equivalent to the Unix sh. Probably cosmic term or ion. I don't know exactly which of the processes. Okay. The terminal has support for tabs. Copy paste. We can increase the font size. Control mouse wheel scroll doesn't work. Control plus does work. Control minus. Profiles. Okay. Something doesn't look great in here. There's two triangles of pixels which are showing the color of the background. In here. And in here. In order to show the tab button around it. But that probably means that Windows can have transparency. Again, this is not the X11 server. It's not a Wayland implementation. It's something that's specific to the Redox operating system. And that's it's this thing. So Orbital is not only the window manager, it's also the display manager. So it's probably what's putting pixels on the screen. The Orbital library and framework. In the screenshot, it's also shown, says Redox running Ion Shell and Orbital windowing system. and there's a screen fetch. Desktop environment orbital, window manager orbital. 2 gigabytes of random access memory and 1.5 gigabytes hard disk. So I have just decompressed the file eimg.zstd. I didn't resize the partitions. If you want more than 1.5 gigabytes space in your virtual hard disk, then you will need to increase the virtual hard disk and the partition table and all of the partitions and the file systems. The layout is what you would expect of the graphical user interface. Windows 95 style main panel at the bottom, clock at the bottom right, start menu at the bottom left. This menu is unexpected because it doesn't have a right arrow and some menus. There's games, there's system, which is just the Cosmic Terminal, and utility, which is VIM Vim and the GTK version, graphical user interface version of Vim. There's the file manager, Cosmic Files, and the text editor, Cosmic Text Editor. Okay, so 3 similar applications, the Cosmic applications. The file manager, text editor, and console terminal with similar names: Cosmic Text Editor, Cosmic Files, and Cosmic Terminal. I'm not sure how I can move this thing around. Okay, let's see how we can get one directory up. Okay, let's try like this. The fact that when you maximize it goes full screen, I don't really like it. Let's see what's the workaround. Shift click on the restore maximize button doesn't keep the main panel visible. Control click neither. Alt click, nope. I just need to maximize them manually, the windows. If you want to resize in both directions at the same time, you can do it from the bottom right corner. When you have this mouse cursor, but it's outside the window because the windows are have rounded corners. So outside of the corners of the window, you will have this arrow that lets you move in 2 directions at the same time. So the top margin doesn't have any way of resizing, not up down and not into directions at the same time. So there's no way of resizing from the top left corner the top edge and top right corner. Okay, so we saw the /UI directory with icons for the applications that are installed. /UI/icons /apps. So probably once you install applications, more icons will be added in here by the application is probably shipped as a package, and that package will also put a file in here in /UI/icons/apps. This is similar to /usr/share/ I don't know exactly what /icons. File manager, terminal, some games with a web browser. There's a photo viewer. This guy. It has opened the file /UI/background.jpg automatically. I can't find the context menu. Doesn't show a main menu. A custom title bar. So I don't know how to use this application. Maybe it's just meant to be associated with JPEG files. When you double click on them, the viewer application will start. Let's test that theory. Double click on freedoom2.png. And yes, it's just a viewer for a single file. The arrows don't do anything. Right click properties, show details. The details are not shown in a pop-up window, but in a sidebar. Okay, so right click, show details. And yeah, something's happening in here. When I right click to show the context menu, it hides the right sidebar. Deleting will move the file to trash, not delete it. Windows style shortcuts, Ctrl X, Ctrl C, F2. This pop-up window is not movable. Permission denied. So you can't rename a file without changing its name because you get permission denied. Because I'm not the user root. That's interesting. Open with. How do you want to open freedoom.png? This is probably going to show a list of associated apps in the future. Or because there's just one app associated with the extension PNG or with the file type PNG, then it's just going to open it. It's not going to show me a list of applications that I could use. Maybe I want to open this file with a text editor and see what's inside. And it doesn't seem to do anything, this menu. This pop-up dialog. If I press open, it doesn't actually open the image viewer file, the image viewer app, like this. Okay. Icons for MIME type, so similar to a Linux icon theme. There's MIME types, there's individual applications that are actually installed on the computer. This is for the start menu, for this button. This is for this thing, log out. It logs you out without asking if what you want to do. So I expected that it would ask, do you want to lock the computer? Do you want to log out? Do you want to reboot? Do you want to shut down the operating system? Something is happening here. It killed the background. It's probably not repainting. The mouse got stuck, so I probably need to reboot the operating system. Ctrl-Alt-G to release grab. I have restarted the computer from QEMU, main menu, machine, and then reset. User and password. Let's see if we can log in as the user root. Is that allowed? Root and password. Yes, we're allowed to do that. Let's see if we can rename that file that we wanted. Edit /UI apps open. So for the user root, the files with extension PNG are associated with, oh no, these are similar to desktop files. Okay, wrong place. So /UI/icons/apps, like this. Freedom 2, rename this thing to Freedom 21. And it did work. Let's see if this thing has a context menu. It doesn't have. Rename. Okay, so we saw the terminal, the file manager. Let's look a bit at the text editor. Back to where we were, /UI/apps, Cosmic files open. This is the text editor from the main menu view, and then about Cosmic text editor. Maybe the web browser is not associated with URLs that use the protocol HTTPS. Says that NetSurf has failed to launch and exited with exit status 1, which is an error. Could not find the file /usr/bin/netsurf-fb. Let's see if there's such a thing. /usr/bin netsurf. If I press the keyboard key N, it doesn't go anywhere. If I press the keyboard key C, it doesn't go anywhere. What's the name? netsurf FB. With this guy. I probably need a terminal. do I do it like this? Right click, copy, paste, paste. Doesn't work. Something happened. That's not the way you pass environment variables. Error writing to clipboard unimplemented, it says in here. So the context menu exists, but doesn't do anything. Right click, copy, Ctrl Shift C. Bash has autocompletion. Found. Failed to locate the Z library. libz.so. That's unfortunate that this image of the operating system from a month and 10 days ago is dead on arrival. So the fact that the zlib is missing, the SO file is missing such that netsurf does not start, means that for sure no human has actually tested this operating system image before the file was written to this directory. Okay, so we saw most of the applications, graphical user interface applications do work. Periodic table. Periodic table that's not resizable. Okay. The tooltips appear behind the windows. So the windows are on top and the main panel is on the bottom, like this. If you move the window will, any window will be on top of the main panel. Sodium is a VI like text editor, text user interface editor written in Rust. First, redraw of the screen. I'm not sure what this thing is. How do we write in here? Unknown command colon. So it's even harder to exit than VI. 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. And then how do I compute the square root of this thing? I don't know. Times 7 equals. So there's powers 1, 1, 1 at the power of 2. It's 109. How is that possible? 2 to the power of 2 equals 4. 0. Okay, so I do not know what this button does. 1.2 plus 0.8. That works correctly. 0.2 plus 7. Okay. So some parts of the calculator work, and there's really few features, no main menu for the calculator. And the other type of window decoration, the one that's not rounded rectangle, has a translucent title bar and has these different icons for the actions in the title bar. So there's this type of window decoration where it's also showing the main menu of the application. So this would be, I know, client-side decoration, and this would be server-side decoration. Server-side decoration is translucent, transparent. The client side is not transparent. The client side is a round rectangle. The server side is not round rectangle. And the icons are different. This is the icon for restore, which is an arrow, whereas this thing is two arrows. And the close button has red background, circular, whereas this one, unless you hover, doesn't have a background for the close button. Okay, so we saw almost everything in here except the games. There's DOSBox. And server-side decoration, the SSD. This is probably needed because you're writing a graphical user interface operating system, and although you don't have hardware drivers for hardware GPUs, for discrete GPUs and integrated GPUs, but at least you want to have something similar to the Mesa 3D software rendering library. So you want probably to have software rendered OpenGL, GLES, Vulkan, a often used graphical user interface 3D graphics library, which then will allow you to port many open source games to your operating system. So this is my first look at the operating system Redox. It's written in the Rust programming language. It's related to Jeremy Soler. It's related to System 76. It's related to Cosmic Effort, the Cosmic Desktop. Some things do not work in this version of the operating system, most notably the fact that the web browser does not start because at least one file is missing. But this is probably just an oversight. Then there's 3 applications from the Cosmic family, which use their own window decoration type. There's porting aids in the form of relibc, which is a C library similar to GNU glibc. There's GNU bash for a POSIX conformant shell. There's graphics, 3D graphics libraries, a Unix-like file system hierarchy with a unified slash directory, slash root the home of the user root, slash home slash user the home directory of the user. There's 3 variants of Vim. But I'm not sure if they work. None of them. So there's Vim and GVim and this one, the Natrium one, which is named Sodium. There's a microkernel that's running some part of the equivalent of the Linux kernel in kernel mode, some parts in user mode, as processes that are children of PID1, which is the process named init, such as the file system. And a totally independent file system, which is also written in Rust, which is Redox FS. Thank you.